Something is ending, not with fire or fanfare, but with the quietness of a breath held too long. Something inside you is loosening, a knot you didn't know was tied so tight, unraveling in slow motion. You feel it before you understand it, like the world shifting beneath your feet in a place no eyes can see. This is not panic. This is not fear. It is something older, more subtle. The slow, sacred collapse of everything you thought was steady, true, permanent. It creeps through your days like a shadow just beyond reach, never quite seen, but always felt. It is the silence that fills the space between your thoughts, the weight that presses softly on your chest when the world demands you keep running. It is the quiet dread beneath everything, the unspoken ache that no amount of news, plans, or distractions can touch. You have tried to outrun it, to push it aside with busyness, with certainty, with answers, but it returns. It is patient, waiting for you to stop pretending, to stop chasing, to stop building walls of control that only hold illusions. This dread is a signal, not of your breaking, but of your awakening. It is the unlearning of the story that kept you small, the undoing of the myth that you must survive by holding tight, the invitation to step off the edge of all you think you know and fall into the unknown beneath. What you call fear now is a doorway, a sacred threshold opening to a vastness that cannot be grasped by the mind. Beneath this dread lies a stillness you have never known, but have always carried. A stillness that is not absence, but presence, not silence, but listening. It is the pulse of life itself waiting to be remembered. And this remembering requires courage, the courage to face what feels like nothingness and find there, instead, the whole of everything. The world around you will not slow down. The chaos will not cease. But you can learn to inhabit the eye of the storm, to rest in a peace untouched by circumstance. This is where your real life begins, not outside, but inside. Not in answers, but in surrender. Not in control, but in trust. The quiet dread beneath everything is not the end of your story. It is the sacred first chapter of your awakening. The moment when the old scripts dissolve and a new narrative begins to form, whispered in the language of your heart. This is not a story of loss, but of return, of coming home to the part of yourself that has always been waiting behind the masks, behind the noise, behind the desperate grasp for certainty. It is the slow unfolding of a truth that no storm can touch, that you are more than your fears, more than your roles, more than the world that seems to be collapsing around you. You are the still point at the center of the turning wheel, the quiet breath between two heartbeats, the infinite space that holds all things without judgment or fear. And though the ground beneath you shifts and shakes, this center does not move. It is always present, always steady, always whole. But to find it, you must first learn to sit with the dread itself, to meet it with openness instead of resistance, to welcome it as a teacher instead of an enemy, to let it wash over you like the tide, carrying away the debris of old beliefs and false safety nets. This is the courage of presence, the courage to be fully here, even when it hurts, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it feels like the world is ending. Because in this presence, something miraculous happens. The dread begins to dissolve, not because it is denied or escaped, but because it is seen and felt and held. It loses its power to control you, and in its place, a quiet peace begins to bloom, fragile at first, like the first light of dawn, but growing stronger with each breath you take. This peace does not depend on circumstance. It does not ask for answers or solutions. It simply is, and it is enough. In this peace, you are invited to remember who you truly are, not the stories you've told yourself, not the fears you carry, but the vast, uncheckable presence that is your true essence. This presence is the source of freedom, of joy, of love beyond conditions. It is the foundation that nothing can erode. And it is waiting for you now, beneath the quiet dread, beneath the noise, beneath everything you think you know. The journey inward is not easy. It asks you to relinquish control, to embrace uncertainty, to trust what cannot be seen. But it is the path to true freedom, and it begins here in the stillness beneath the storm. So breathe, sit with the silence. Let the quiet dread speak to you. Listen not with your mind, but with your heart. And know, you are not alone. This is the awakening of your soul, the turning toward a peace that has never left you, the sacred unfolding of a life lived from the still, vast center of being. This moment is a portal. It is the gentle collapse of all you thought you knew, making space for a new knowing to rise, not as a flash, but as a steady flame glowing in the dark. It is the soft surrender to the mystery that has always cradled you beneath the surface of your fear. And though the storm rages on, you begin to move with it instead of against it, finding rhythm in its wild pulse and rest in its deep currents. There is no map for this territory, no timetable, no guarantee, only the invitation to come as you are, to be present with what is, to trust the unknown unfolding of your own becoming. And in that trust, you find freedom. Not the freedom promised by plans and outcomes, but the freedom that comes when you realize you are already enough, already whole, already held by the vastness that holds all things. This is the quiet dread beneath everything, the sacred breaking open of a life, not by breaking apart, but by breaking through. The first breath of a deeper peace, a truer belonging, a love without condition or boundary. The path begins here, right now. In this moment that feels like an ending, but is really a beginning. There comes a time when the desperate search for certainty, answers, leaders, ideologies, tightens like iron bands around your chest, squeezing the breath from your soul. We clutch at systems, at formulas, at rules that promise survival in a world that feels unraveling, believing that if we understand enough, if we prepare enough, if we align with the right ideas, then we can hold the ground beneath our feet. But this pursuit, though seemingly rational, slowly reveals itself as a cage, one that imprisons not just the body, but the spirit. The more you seek to grasp the ungraspable, the more elusive the truth becomes. It does not come through logic or facts. Rather, it quietly undoes the very foundations of your reasoning. Truth is not a conclusion to be reached, but a presence to be experienced. A surrender that dismantles the fortress of certainty brick by brick. This unmooring is exhausting. The fatigue of constant questioning, of navigating an endless labyrinth of possibilities and fears, wears down the mind and heart alike. You find yourself caught in a paradox. The harder you chase the safety of answers, the more restless and lost you become. The spiritual fatigue creeps in, subtle and relentless, whispering that something must give way, not out of weakness, but because deeper freedom calls. It is here, in the stillness beneath your weariness, that the invitation arises, to release the desperate need to be right, to be safe, to be prepared. To let go of the illusion that control can shield you from the unknown. This letting go is not surrender as defeat, but surrender as doorway, a portal opening onto a new way of being. When the ground disappears beneath your feet, when all the old certainties fall away, something miraculous happens. Flight becomes possible, not the frantic escape of fear, but the liberation that arises when you no longer resist the unknown, when you lean into the vast openness that has always held you. In this sacred space, surrender transforms from loss into gain, from falling apart into breaking through. It is the recognition that true safety is not found in solid ground, but in the deep, steady presence that does not depend on circumstance. This presence is the heart of freedom, the freedom to be unmoored and yet unshakable, vulnerable and yet whole. To live within this paradox is to embrace the mystery at the core of existence. It is to dance with uncertainty rather than flee from it, to hold your fears with compassion instead of judgment, to trust the invisible current that carries you beyond the limits of your knowing. The cage of certainty dissolves not by force, but by gentle, relentless opening, by the soft erosion of rigid beliefs, until all that remains is the radiant core of your being, shining clear and free. This is the sacred space of surrender, where the soul learns to breathe deeply in the absence of guarantees, to rest in the silence beyond words, to find peace not in answers, but in presence itself. Here, in the emptiness that once terrified you, you discover fullness. Here, in the letting go, you find home. There is a fierce tenderness in this place, an acceptance that does not numb or deny, but meets every trembling edge with a compassionate gaze. It is the paradox of strength born from vulnerability, the iron forged in the fire of uncertainty. Here, you realize that the very thing you feared, the unknown, was never your enemy, but your greatest teacher, guiding you beyond the illusions that once shaped your world. You see now that certainty was never meant to be a fortress, but a cage that kept you small, safe, and separate from the vastness you longed for. You begin to understand that the yearning for certainty is a sacred call, a call to wake from the dream of control and to remember the freedom that has always been your birthright. It asks you to surrender the tired narratives of struggle and resistance, and to open instead to the flow of life that carries all things with effortless grace. This is not a path paved with ease, but one lit by the steady flame of presence and trust. As you move through this space, the walls of your cage crumble, not with violence, but with gentle, persistent unfolding. You find the courage to stand in the midst of paradox, holding what is with open hands and an open heart. You learn to live without knowing, to love without conditions, to be without needing to become. And in this profound surrender, you discover that the ground beneath your feet is not a place but a presence. Steady, unshakable, infinite. This is the miracle of letting go, the transformation of fear into faith, of resistance into acceptance, of confinement into freedom. And it is the sacred doorway through which your soul must pass if it is to remember itself fully, if it is to awaken into the vastness of who you truly are. Beneath the restless tides of circumstance, beneath the countless masks and stories that rise and fall like fleeting shadows on a sunlit wall, there dwells a presence, so quiet, so untouched by the shifting storms of life, it seems almost invisible. Yet it is here, always here, this unseen self that watches without fear, without haste, without the need to act or prove. It is the calm eye within the hurricane, the steady flame that flickers quietly, even as winds howl around it. This self does not clutch at answers or scramble to hold on to fleeting certainties. It does not seek refuge in knowledge or control, nor does it flinch from the unknown. Instead, it remains patient, still, and vast, holding space for all things without resistance. This presence is not shaped by circumstance, nor is it bound by the swirling chaos of the world outside. It exists beyond time's grasp, beyond the mind's restless chatter. It is a deep well of peace that does not rise or fall with your thoughts, your fears, your hopes. You are not the news you consume, not the anxieties that spike like sudden storms within your chest. You are not the masks worn to navigate the shifting landscapes of expectation and judgment. These are but passing clouds, fragile and transient, drifting across the sky of your awareness. In this unseen self lies a vastness beyond definition, a wholeness that has never been broken, no matter how fragmented your story feels. Here's the silent witness that holds your entire being, your shadows and your light, your sorrow and your joy, with the same unwavering embrace. The self neither judges nor defends. It simply is, endlessly patient, endlessly present. It invites you to rest in a space beyond identity, beyond the frantic need to belong or be known, beyond the desire to fix or escape. It is a freedom born not of effort, but of surrender, an invitation to stop running, stop striving, and simply be. To meet this self is to touch a peace that precedes all understanding. It is not a prize won by struggle or a state achieved through discipline. Rather, it is the ground upon which every question, every doubt, every yearning arises and falls away again like leaves carried on a gentle stream. This peace is the quiet before the dawn, the stillness beneath the waves, the breath between heartbeats. It is ever present, unchanging, the silent song beneath the world's clamor. And as you settle deeper into this presence, the illusion of fragmentation begins to dissolve. You see that the self you once clung to, the one defined by fears, defenses, roles, and stories, is but a shifting mask, a fragile construct meant to protect a deeper vulnerability. Yet that vulnerability is not weakness, but the gateway to profound strength. It is the open heart beneath the armor, the tender core beneath the shell. To surrender the need to defend is not to lose yourself, but to finally find the self that has always been whole, radiant, and free. This transformation is subtle and slow. It does not demand sudden revelation or dramatic upheaval, but unfolds gently like dawn spreading its light across a dark horizon. You may find yourself slipping back into old patterns, caught once again in the familiar web of fear and identity, only to be drawn once more to this still center. Each return is an act of grace, a deeper remembering of who you are beneath the noise. Living from this unseen self changes everything. It changes how you face the inevitable storms of life, no longer with frantic resistance, but with open arms and a steady heart. It changes how you relate to others, not through need or fear, but through presence and compassion. It changes how you see yourself, not as fractured or lacking, but as whole and endlessly expansive. In this place, peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of a deeper order, a sacred harmony that holds even the wildest storms. It is a peace that does not depend on circumstances or outcomes, but flows from the infinite wellspring of your true being. This is the miracle of the unseen self. The shift from living behind masks and defenses to inhabiting the fullness of your essence, unshaken by fear, untouched by turmoil. To embrace this self is to come home to a refuge no storm can breach, no fear can unsettle. It is to rest in the quiet knowing that beneath all appearances, you are already whole, already loved, already free. And in that rest, all the rushing fades away, leaving only the gentle pulse of life itself, steady and sure, beating quietly in the depths of your soul. And as you rest more deeply in this unseen self, the silent witness untouched by fear, unshaken by chaos, you begin to perceive the world anew through eyes unclouded by the urgent demands of survival or the frantic need for certainty. The world, once experienced as a tempest of relentless noise and swirling confusion, now reveals itself as a grand tapestry woven from threads of light and shadow, stillness and motion, despair and hope. It becomes clear that the invitation is not to escape this storm or hide behind walls of resistance, but to live fully within its heart, inside the eye where stillness reigns supreme. This eye of the storm is not a place of absence or withdrawal. It is a sanctuary of presence, an active, living silence that carries its own kind of power. It is the quiet pulse beneath the thunder, the steady flame flickering amid fierce winds, the sacred ground that remains unmoved even as the world around you shifts in chaotic waves. Here you discover a profound truth. Peace is not the product of avoidance, nor is it found in shutting out the world's turmoil. Instead, peace emerges when you allow yourself to see the world through a different lens, a lens unclouded by fear, unbound by the compulsion to control or fix. You become a quiet presence amidst the global clamor, a calm beacon whose light pierces through the fog of distraction and despair. This presence is a rare and precious gift, a stillness that offers refuge not only to yourself, but to others who find themselves adrift in the storm. You begin to embody the paradox of strength born from softness, of being deeply engaged with the world without losing your center, of holding your heart open without becoming overwhelmed. The responsibility of such steadiness is immense, For in a culture often dominated by anxiety and haste, to be a calm, non-anxious presence is to embody a silent revolution. Living inside the eye of the storm demands a delicate balance. It asks you to soften your edges without slipping into passivity, to open your awareness without becoming entangled in chaos. It is the art of presence in motion, the ability to act with intention and clarity while rooted in profound stillness. From this grounded place, your actions flow not from reaction but from wisdom. They carry the weight of authenticity and the lightness of compassion. You become a living example of peace as power, a power that does not dominate or control, but that transforms through quiet resilience and unwavering love. This power is like the willow tree, which bends with the fierce winds but does not break, whose roots run deep enough to hold steady through the storm's fury. It is the light that shines steadily in the darkest night, unwavering and sure. This peace holds space for fear and pain without being consumed by them, offering a refuge for those lost in the turmoil, and a wellspring of hope where despair once reigned. It is the strength to stand firm in the face of uncertainty, to be a beacon for those still searching for their own center. And so, living inside the eye of the storm, you become more than a witness. You become a quiet revolution in motion. Your steady presence ripples outward like gentle waves across a still lake, subtly reshaping the world around you. The chaos outside may rage unchecked, but within you lies an uncheckable calm, a deep reservoir of strength, love, and clarity that no external force can diminish or dislodge. Here, transformation takes root, not in battling the storm, but in becoming the stillness that it cannot touch or disturb. From this vantage point, the world may never slow down, but your experience of it shifts profoundly. You carry the stillness within you as a sacred flame, a light that guides you through darkness and distraction alike. You learn to move with grace and courage, rooted deeply in presence even as the world spins wildly around you. In this way, you do not merely endure the storm, you live inside it with open eyes, steady heart, and a peace so deep that it quietly changes everything it touches. Here, in this sacred space, you come to understand that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of a steady heart amid the clash of forces. It is the inner sanctuary where you return again and again, a place beyond reaction and resistance. It is the foundation upon which your truest life unfolds, where power and softness intertwine in a dance as ancient as time itself. There is a sacred collapse unfolding, a profound unmaking not of life itself, but of the illusions and stories that once held it tightly bound. Like ancient trees shedding their leaves in a slow, graceful autumn, the structures that seemed so solid, so eternal, begin to loosen and fall away. This dissolution is not destruction, nor is it defeat. It is a spiritual awakening, a clearing of space for what has long been waiting, an opening for the fresh breath of new possibility to enter. Though despair may come, heavy and unwelcome, it is but a shadow that passes before the dawn. Within this descent lies a hidden grace, a quiet unfolding that invites you to see beyond what appears to be an ending, to sense the beginning patiently unfolding beneath the surface. You come to understand that what feels like loss is, in truth, a shift, a profound shifting of perspective, understanding, and being. The old, crumbling forms of certainty and identity reveal the timeless self beneath, steady, whole, and untouched by the transient storms that rage above. This self is beyond time and circumstance, eternal and unchanging. To glimpse it is to awaken from the deep trance of separation and fear, to remember that nothing ever truly ends. All things flow, transform, and return in an endless dance of becoming and unbecoming. From the trembling fear of endings, you move slowly toward wonder, a wonder that opens your heart to the unfolding mystery of life's eternal cycles. You begin to see the sacred rhythm of creation and dissolution as one seamless movement, an infinite spiral weaving through all existence. This shift is not merely an intellectual understanding, but a deep inner reset, a reorientation of your soul's compass away from reaction, resistance, and despair, and toward acceptance, trust, and truth. It is a living surrender that embraces change not as loss, but as liberation, not as collapse, but as rebirth. Here, in this sacred space of transformation, you find a peace that transcends all conditions, a peace that cannot be disturbed, diminished, or taken away. This peace does not rely on external circumstances, outcomes, or the fragile constructs of the mind. Instead, it flows from the deep wellspring of your true nature, the unshakable foundation beneath all experience. It is the quiet pulse beneath the chaos, the eternal flame that burns steadily when all else seems to fade. The world may continue its relentless spinning. Storms will rage, old structures will fall, and noise will swell. Yet within you lies a calm so profound that no turmoil can unsettle it, a presence that witnesses all endings as sacred beginnings, all closures as openings to something far greater than before. From this place, you move through life not as a victim of circumstance, but as a radiant embodiment of truth and freedom. Nothing is ending, only shifting. This sacred shift is the unfolding of your true story, the awakening to the infinite dance of life itself. You are freed from the chains of illusion, freed from the need to grasp or control, freed to rest in the vastness of your own being. Here, in this infinite space, you come home whole, free, and alive in the quiet miracle of your own existence. The collapse is not the end of your journey, but the turning of a page. It is the gentle fading of the night's shadow before the light of a new dawn. It is the sacred invitation to step into a new way of living, one rooted in presence, love, and deep trust. You learn to flow with life's currents instead of resisting them, to breathe with its rhythms instead of fighting against them. You begin to live from a place beyond reaction, beyond fear, beyond the need for certainty. In this way, you are reborn, not as someone new, but as the truest version of yourself, uncovered and radiant beneath the layers of illusion. And in this rebirth, you find the freedom to live fully, deeply, and joyfully, no matter what the world around you may do. This is the final gift of the shift, the realization that life is an endless unfolding, a sacred dance without beginning or end. And you are the eternal dancer, moving with grace through the shifting tides, forever resting in the quiet, unshakable peace that has always been yours.